Attack on Titan is a brutal and unforgiving story, one where the world itself seems determined to slaughter the characters we love. Given these circumstances, it's not surprising that almost every character, especially early on, is either fueled by rage or consumed with fear. That's why I find characters who break that mold so unique and fascinating, and unique is definitely a word that I would use to describe Hange Zoe. While everyone else was honing their combat skills to take on the Titans, or trying to hide away from them, Hange was an oddball who was more obsessed with studying and learning about them. That indomitable curiosity and desire to understand the world made for an intriguing character that I loved from the moment they were introduced. So today, I would like to take a look at the 14th commander of the Survey Corps, Hange Zoe. As a young soldier, Hange was a pretty typical scout recruit, fueled by her rage toward the Titans. But, after one of her many battles, she kicked the head of a decapitated Titan only to find that, despite its large size, it was remarkably light. This disconnect piqued her curiosity, and from that moment on, she devoted herself to studying and understanding the Titans. In spite of her quirky personality, her intelligence, intuition, and skill made her one of humanity's greatest assets. She became a squad leader, and eventually, Erwin chose her to succeed him as commander of the Scouts. When Eren triggered the rumbling and unleashed its wrath upon the world, Hange was the one who rallied the ragtag alliance of Scouts and Marleyans to stop him. She gave her all to save the world, and was even willing to sacrifice her own life to keep that dream alive. At her core, Hange is a character that is driven by one primary motivation: the desire to understand the world around her. In the earlier seasons, this is largely expressed through her fascination with Titans, but I do think it's a mistake to believe that Titans are all she cares about. At the end of Season 3, when everyone finally reaches the sea, she's just as obsessed with saltwater and marine life as she is with any Titan. And, in Season 4, we can see how enchanted she is with different technologies and cultures from all over the world. Throughout the series, Hange is consistently overjoyed to learn and discover, and as someone who has a background in science and engineering myself, I think that's a big part of what drew me to the character in the first place. To Hange, the world is one big puzzle, one that can probably never be fully solved, and I doubt she would want it any other way. I think that this unbridled desire to simply learn is inherently different from a lot of the other characters. Most members of the cast who seek out the truth, like Armin or Erwin, have a specific goal that they are working to achieve. Erwin wants to find out whether his father's theory about humanity beyond the walls is correct. Meanwhile, Armin wants to find the sea and the wondrous landscapes described in his book. But Hange has no end goal. That ambition to simply learn as much as one can is unique to her alone, and I think that desire is a major reason why she chose to oppose Eren. If the rumbling is successful, it would eliminate everything beyond the island of Paradis, and in doing so, would put an end to Hange's core motivation. Cultures, technology, everything that Hange wants to discover and understand would be wiped from existence and lost forever. But while her focus on understanding is a major factor in her choice to oppose Eren, it isn't the only reason she chooses to do so. In the later seasons, we can see that Hange is also driven by the responsibility she feels as a leader. To be honest, I don't believe Hange ever wanted to be in a position of leadership. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that she is a very capable commander. She's good at developing strategies, reading situations during combat, and inspiring those around her. But her ascent within the military also brought about much more responsibility, She wasn't just working in a vacuum. Her decisions would impact the lives of her squad, the scouts, and eventually all of humanity. That is an incredible burden to place on anyone. And while Hange definitely tried her best, it's clear that the pressure weighed heavily on her. Not only that, but as commander, Hange's idealism was tempered by the reality of her position. Rather than gleefully sharing her theories with anyone who would listen, we see her hiding knowledge from the public instead. Rather than freely exploring the world around her, she's forced to respond to the immediate circumstances of Paradis. But I think the clearest display of this is how frequently she has to resort to violence because of that responsibility. To put it simply, Hange is not the type of person who enjoys hurting others. She's certainly capable of intimidating others, and she can definitely fight when necessary. But in almost every scene where she's hurting another person, we can see the pain she feels while doing so. In Season 3, when she's torturing Sanus for information on the royal family, she is visibly frustrated by her actions the second he can no longer see her. And, in Season 4, we see this again whenever she's forced to kill Jaegerists. But, to be honest, this trait is something we've seen in her since Season 1. The very first time we see her fight a Titan, she promises to make the battle quick so it won't feel any pain. And when she was torturing Titans for her experiments, she was arguably more distraught than the Titans she was hurting. The Titans, the interior military police, the Jaegerists, all of them are enemies who would kill her without a second thought. And yet, she takes no joy in hurting them. But these are life or death situations. She is a leader, and she knows that a moment of hesitation could cost her and her comrades their lives. As much as she hates violence, sometimes it seems that there isn't much of a choice. All of these moments and choices force her to question who she truly is, and she struggles to balance the person she wants to be with the leader she needs to be. She constantly wonders if what she's doing is right, and ponders how her fallen allies would view the leader she has become. But in addition to all of that weight and uncertainty, there's one particular thought that haunts her more than any other: that she is the reason Eren unleashed the rumbling upon the world. As leader of the Scouts, Hange viewed herself as the one responsible for securing a path forward for the Eldian people. Driven by her desire for understanding, she pursued diplomatic options to help protect the island, working with the volunteers and the Azumabito to try and establish communication with the outside world. It may have been idealistic, but the idea that knowledge and understanding are a better path to victory than violence and bloodshed is quintessential to her character. But despite her best efforts, she was unable to find a peaceful solution to the world's hatred, at least in the limited time she had. And, in her mind, that failure is what made Eren resort to the rumbling. So when she sees the terrible atrocities that he's committing, she can't help but blame herself. To Hange, every life Eren takes is her fault, and she simply cannot bear that weight. That is why she goes to such lengths to forge the alliance against Eren, not just to save the world, but to rectify what she sees as her greatest failure. Hange's character isn't just about understanding the world around her. It's also about understanding herself. Who does she want to be? How does she balance her own idealism with the cruel realities of the world? Throughout the series, we see her struggle to find the answers to those questions. And yet, in the end, I think Hange knew who she truly was. She chose hope and understanding over rage, and she was willing to fight to protect that ideal. And even if it was only for a small group, she was able to bring enemies together. She was able to help them understand each other in ways that no other character could. Hange represents hope for a better future, one full of peace rather than violence. It may seem like an impossible dream, But even if Hange didn't have all the answers to the world's problems, that wasn't going to stop her from searching for them to the very end. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. And if you want to see more from me, I'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know down in the comments if you have any ideas you'd like me to make a video about. Until next time, this is Paradigm, and I hope you have a phenomenal day.